Welcome back to Burn and Barrel, and today we are going to be reviewing Knob Creek's 10-Year Rye. Knob Creek is made by Jim Beam, which is located in Claremont, Kentucky. This bottle is their Knob Creek 10-Year Rye, which is 100 proof. The mash bill for this bottle is undisclosed, but it is rumored to be just over 50% rye and a good bit corn and small percent of malted barley. The bottle itself is very rectangular in its shape, but has some sort of lumps and ridges along the back as well. The back also has some legal information as well. The frontal label has the Knob Creek name along where this was distilled at. It also contains information about the proof of this bottle and the age statement as well. Based on the color of this bottle, you can tell that there is some age to this whiskey. And now, let's get right into the review. So I'm going ahead and put up some of the Knob Creek 10-Year here, so let's go ahead and get right into the review. So, first we start off with the color. So the color's pretty dark on this one, and I kind of expected that with this kind of product here, considering this is a 10-year rye. Once you get past like the 4 to 6 year age statement, you start to get some really nice color on things if they're Kentucky products. Like I said, I may have mentioned it in a few videos in the past, but when you get products aged in places such as Michigan and somewhere in the north, colder climates, even Scotches and Irish whiskeys and Canadian whiskeys, like those have significant age statements, 10, 12 plus years, and they won't have nearly good as color as this does. I'm not saying this is the darkest color I've seen, but this is definitely still a good and decently dark color for an aged whiskey. So this one, considering it is a Kentucky aged product, does not surprise me that we have some good color here, considering it is 10 years. So, yeah, super excited for that. Like I said, like I always say, the color doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get really rich flavors, but it is a good indicator. So I am excited about that. So let's get right to the nose. So this has a very velvety type nose, like very smooth, very cohesive. Like it all just kind of blends together, which is super nice. Some noses I get, it's like I can get like one note and it's very different from another note, and then it's very different from the other note. But this is 3 or a couple different notes that kind of just blend together. Like I'm getting like a buttery type caramel note, like something that's really smooth, almost like a caramel candy type. Like it was caramel made with some other stuff too. But I'm also getting like a peanut type of note too, maybe like a peanut brittle, again like a candy type of peanut note, which is super nice. So it reminds me of just like the chocolate and fudge and caramel section of like a candy store, not like any of like the sweet artificial fruit type candies. This is more of like the chocolatey, peanut buttery, caramelly, those more, I guess, rich type of candies. That's what I'm getting here. So it's super nice. Definitely sweeter on the nose. Again, candy-like. So I'm already very intrigued by this. And considering it is a rye, that really does surprise me, because a lot of times I get on ryes more fruity notes and maybe not super rich notes like I do on this one, but this one is very, very good. So I really like it. So this bodes well for the palate. So let's get right into that. Yeah, it's got some of that same characteristics on there. On the beginning, I'm not getting nearly as much sweetness as I am on the beginning of the palate, like I was on the nose. I'm getting more of like a raw, like cocoa note, like just straight unsweetened cocoa note, which is good. I'm getting baking spices as well. And I mean, I get a little bit of caramel too. Definitely a decent amount of caramel there too as well. But definitely not nearly as sweet as I thought it was going to be based on what that nose was. Which is not a bad thing. Like I said, I still am enjoying this palate. It's just the expectation I had is a little bit different than what is reality, which is fine. But yeah, the palate presents that sweet caramel note. I'm getting a little bit of, like I said, baking spices, maybe a little bit of a raw cocoa, a little bit of like a I want to say almost like a smoky, ashy characteristic, kind of like, I guess char is what I'm looking for. Yeah, it definitely has that little bit of like little burntness to it on the end. Again, not a ton, but definitely can tell there's a little bit of a sort of smoky type characteristic on there. But it's super nice. Like I said, it adds a little bit of extra depth, a little bit of extra just oomph to the sip, which again, I'm always here for. So going into the finish, again, it's more of that like ashy oak type thing, but it gets more lighter and like not as super heavy as a smoky flavor, which again is not even that big to begin with, but it does lighten up a little bit on the end there. I'm also getting a little bit more of that baking spice there on the finish as well. Not a super long finish, like I just took that sip and it disappeared like a couple seconds ago, so not really super long, but again, it's not super short. It's not just like there and gone, but it's definitely, it doesn't stick around a ton, I will say. But what it does stick around for, I am enjoying. I'm very much enjoying this sip. And considering that Knob Creek is a Jim Beam product, you can find these pretty readily around. I don't think you're going to have an issue with that. It is 100 proof, 10-year rye. I mean, there's a lot to like about this product. And given all my notes, as you probably know, I tend to some of the sweeter stuff. When it comes to bourbons and ryes and any type of liquors, I tend to more of the sweeter notes. Not overly sweet. I don't like overly sweet stuff. Like all more artificial. I don't like really artificial sweetened stuff. That just feels over the top. I like it to be more of a naturally sweet type deal. And this has that natural sweetness on the nose. It has a little bit of that natural sweetness on the palate, but it also has those nice characteristics that kind of just balance out the whole experience. And for a rye, a 10-year rye, this is great. Like, I am really enjoying this. Like I said, as far as distribution goes, you should not have a ton of problems, I don't think, with this one. I don't think the 10-year is super rare. I don't think that's specifically an allocated product. But I could be wrong. Again, distribution is different for every state, every area. So if it's available here, it may not be available where you live. Really just depends. You just have to go out and find it yourself. But I will say that if you can get your hands on this one, I really recommend it. Jim Beam does some good stuff. Again, they're a big distiller, so a big legacy distiller has a lot of expectations that come with that. And I think they really hit the mark with this one. I don't think it's super expensive. Good age statement, good quality sip from what I've gathered so far. Distribution I think is fairly good. There's a lot of good things going for this one. So I say that to say, if you are a strictly bourbon drinker who wants to get into ryes, I actually think this is actually a good one to step into. A lot of people don't like ryes because of the rye spice you get into it, or just, you know, the mintiness and stuff that comes with the rye sometimes just kind of puts them off. I don't get a ton of mint on this one at all, really. I mean, it would be hard. I think I could tell that it's a rye, but I don't think I could really put a lot of money on it that it is. So I think if you like bourbon and want to transition into rye, I think this is a good one. Either this or the, I don't remember what the one below it is. There's like not a 10-year rye, but another Knob Creek rye that they have. I don't remember what it is, but that one could be good too. So either of the Knob Creek ryes I think are good choices if you're wanting to transition into them. It provides some of that rye characteristic, but not overwhelming you. But there's that crowd, and if you are just somebody who tries to stay away from legacy distiller stuff, you want more craft stuff, I mean, this is really solid stuff. I really implore you to try this if you can get your hands on it. So I give it an 8 out of 10 for me. This is definitely a really, really good pour, in my opinion. I think they really hit the ball out of the park with this one. And I hope they continue to make it. I don't think they have any plans of getting rid of it, but I hope they continue to make it for a while. I would love to keep one of these bottles stacked on my shelves, just because it is that good. and it is just a really, really good pour that I know I can go to. So, like I said, a lot of people should try this. A lot of those different groups should try it, and if you can get your hands on it and try it, let me know how it is down below. But a really good rye from a legacy distiller.
I hope you've enjoyed this review of Knob Creek 10-Year Rye. I have left a summarized version of this review down in the description below alongside a link to the website. If you've gotten a chance to try this bottle, please let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Check out the videos that you see on your screen and some of the other reviews I have done on my channel as well. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time here on Burn and Barrel.